6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. Today is Induap Full Moon Poya Day, the last full moon Poya of the year. The annual Sri Pada pilgrimage season 2022-2023 begins today. A committee was appointed to submit report on establishing foreign university branches in the island. The government says no decision has been taken to privatize the railways department. The votes of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries were passed in Parliament with amendments. In foreign news, Argentina Vice President found guilty of corruption. In sports, Kandy Falcons won the second match of the LPL cricket tournament against Colombo Stars by 109 runs. Moving on to local news in detail now. Today is Unduap Full Moon Poya Day. This is the last full moon Poya Day of the year. This day commemorates the arrival of Sangamitta Thera in Sri Lanka with a bow sapling from the sacred Jayashree Mahabodhi in India during the month of Unduap. Sangamitta Theri was accompanied on this voyage of utmost importance by several members of the royal family who had entered the Buddha Sasana. This contingent landed in the island during the reign of King Devanampiya Tissa. Sangamitta Theri was the daughter of Emperor Asoka and the sister of Arahant Mahinda, who brought Buddhism to Sri Lanka on Poson Poya Day. She was responsible for establishing the Bhikkhuni Sasana in Sri Lanka. In honor of this event back in history, devotees flocked to Anuradhapura in their thousands on Unduap Poya Day to pay homage to the sacred bow tree and observe the 5 precepts in order to lead exemplary lives. The sapling was planted in 288 BC by King Devanampiya Tissa in the Mahamevnava Park in Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka, where it still grows today. This makes it the oldest living human planted tree in the world with a known planting date. Many religious programs, including seal campaigns, will be held at temples and Buddhist centers island-wide to mark the Poya Day. SLBC airs Poya programs from Kandurata and Ruhunu services. The annual Sri Pada pilgrimage season 2022-2023 begins today. A series of religious activities to mark the beginning of the season was held at the Sri Pada Raja Mahaviharya in Galpottavala, Ratnapura yesterday. The processions carrying the sacred objects and the statue of God Sumana Saman from the temple to the Sri Pada reached Sri Pada this morning. It is recorded that during the Lord Buddha's lifetime, he visited Sri Lanka on the invitation of Lord Sumana Saman and placed his footprint on the summit of the Sri Pada. The Sri Pada pilgrimage season will end on Vesak Poya Day next year. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Continuing with more stories here at home. Chief incumbent of the Sri Pada Raja Mahaviharya, Venerable Bengamue Dhammadinna Thera, says that increased facilities will be provided to devotees and visitors with the assistance of both the state and private sector during the pilgrimage season. The Thera requests the pilgrims to behave in disciplined manner during the visit to the sacred site. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says the President has instructed the Education Minister to appoint a committee consisting of former education ministers, political party representatives and educationists to submit a comprehensive report on the establishment of branches of foreign universities in Sri Lanka. Today, a large number of students are migrating abroad for education. Due to this, the foreign exchange in the country as well as the knowledge and skills are flowing abroad. In order to avoid this, the minister pointed out that branches of foreign universities should be established in Sri Lanka in affiliation with local universities. He further says that in order to control the admission of Sri Lankan students to foreign universities by spending more than $3 billion, foreign university branches in Sri Lanka should be established. Meanwhile, the minister assured that the government has not taken any decision to privatize the railways department. They are working to find a mechanism in consultation with railway employees to operate train services in a way that does not cause a loss to the department. Minister Gunawardena further said that there is currently a discussion between him and the railway employees on how to maintain the railway department as a profitable venture. The votes of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries were passed in Parliament with amendments last evening. Joining the committee stage debate, State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa said Uma irrigation scheme would provide water to 1,500 hectares of paddy fields. It will also provide water to Magampura industry zone. Work on 998 tanks and canals have been completed under the Saubhagya irrigation program. The State Minister added that other tanks and canals will be renovated in future. In the meantime, a consignment of essential medicines and medical supplies worth 2 billion rupees donated by China reached the Colombo port yesterday. It contained 8 million infusion sets, 1.2 million vials of omeprazole sodium for injection, 1 million capecitabine tablets, 612,720 PF, syringes of enoxaparin sodium injection, 240,000 bottles of sodium valproate tablets, and 100,800 ampoules of heparin sodium injection. China has donated medicines worth 5 billion rupees to Sri Lanka since June, the Embassy of China in Colombo said in a tweet. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Investment Promotion Ministry expects to reach the export revenue limit of $19 billion from both goods and service categories in 2023. Of this amount, $14.8 billion is expected to be earned through the export of commercial goods, while the balance of $4.2 billion is expected to be earned through the export of services. The ministry has planned to implement several strategies, building the image of the local exports, value addition and branding of the products, increasing the exports to new foreign markets, extending to exporter community, and increasing the efficiency of the employees in the export sector are some of them. The government has allocated 250 million rupees for 2023 to boost the exporter community as a part of these strategies. That's the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
Education Minister Susil Premajandsa says that school canteens, school buses and vans will be checked for drugs in partnership with the police, along with the program to eradicate the drug menace from schools. In an address to the media, he stated that a drug prevention program, in addition to the nutrition program, is currently being implemented in 144 schools in Colombo and will be launched in 100 educational zones across the country in January, covering 10,150 schools. The minister requests the parents to pay more attention to their children as they are engaging in various external activities such as private classes after school hours. That's on Watchlight.
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines: Argentina Vice President found guilty of corruption. Zelensky visits troops near most difficult front line. Trump Organization found guilty of tax crimes after New York trial. World News in detail. A court in Argentina has sentenced Vice President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner to 6 years in jail for corruption in a case that has shaken the country. Fernández, of 69, was found guilty of fraudulent administration over the awarding of public works contracts to a friend. But she is unlikely to serve jail time. Fernández has some immunity via her government roles and is expected to launch a lengthy appeals process. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has visited troops in the eastern Donetsk region, which Russia claims as its own after a sham referendum. The area, particularly around the town of Bakhmut, is now the main focus of fighting after Ukraine's forces retook Kherson in the south last month. President Zelensky called it the most difficult area that protects not only the east but our entire state. Russia and its proxies have controlled parts of Donetsk since 2014. Finally, on world news, former U.S. President Donald Trump's family real estate company has been found guilty of tax crimes. The Trump Organization was convicted on all counts on Tuesday after 2 days of jury deliberations in New York. The business is synonymous with the former president, but neither Mr. Trump or his family members were personally on trial. The company was convicted of enriching its top executives with off-the-books benefits for more than a decade. That's on World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
And on development news, the artificial beach in the port city of Colombo will be open to the public for free before this year's Christmas Day. Port City sources say the construction of this 1.6-kilometer-long artificial beach has now been completed. The public will be able to visit and enjoy the entire beach area of 2.1 kilometers in the port city, including the Marina Promenade walking path of 500 meters, which was open to the public in January this year. This artificial beach area comprises of restaurants and water activities. That's on development news. Moving on to sports news. Jaffna Kings won the first match of the Lanka Premier League Cricket Tournament 2022 played at Hambantota against Galle Gladiators by 24 runs. Jaffna Kings scored 137 at the end of 20 overs. Galle Gladiators could only score 113 runs in 20 overs. Dunit Villalage was named the man of the match. In the meantime, Kandy Falcons won the second match of the LPL Cricket Tournament 2022 against Colombo Stars by 109 runs. Kandy Falcons scored 199 for 1 at the end of 20 overs. Colombo Stars could only score 90 runs in 14.3 overs. Andre Fletcher scored 102 not out. One in the Hasaranga made a hat-trick. That's on sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest. An interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe requests the Maldives to invest in Sri Lanka's high-tech agriculture sector, cruise tourism and high-end tourism sectors. President Wickremesinghe also requested the Maldives to join hands with Sri Lanka in establishing the Climate Change University. He made these requests when Maldivian Vice President Faisal Nasim met him at the Presidential Secretariat recently.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest. An interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Economic news, courtesy of...
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC. Imagine the possibilities.
Sri Lanka's poverty is estimated to have risen to 25% in 2022 from 13%, World Bank's Vice President for South Asia region, Martin Reza, said, as the country was hit by the worst currency crisis in the history of its intermediate regime's central bank. Sri Lanka's rupee collapsed from 200 to 370 to the US dollar after 2 years of money printing by macroeconomists to miss target rates and push growth up stimulus or output gap targeting. That's on economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall Gold Award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
And on the weather update, the Department of Meteorology has announced it will be rainy and windy conditions, which is expected to enhance over the northern, north central and eastern provinces from today to Friday. Cloudy skies will prevail over most parts of the island and fairly heavy rainfall above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in northern province and Trincomalee district. Strong winds about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, north central and eastern provinces. That's the weather update. Before we wind up this bulletin of news, back to the headlines. Today is Unduwap Full Moon Poya Day, the last full moon Poya Day of the year. The annual trip or the pilgrimage season 2022-2023 begins today. A committee was appointed to submit report on establishing foreign university branches in the island. The government says no decision has been taken to privatize the railways department. The votes of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries were passed in Parliament with amendments. In foreign news, Argentina Vice President found guilty of corruption. Sports news, Candy Falcons won the second match of the LPL cricket tournament against Colombo Stars by 109 runs. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news.